there. We'd like to ask you a quick question. Do you know if anyone around here has been looking for him? For Kaidahara Kazuha, we mean.
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaidehara. I've heard a lot about you. It is an honor to finally meet you today.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault and would appreciate any help you can offer.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. I can't seem to recall anything of immediate interest. Mr. Kaidehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking for him. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaidehara's personal information. Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
Millions? Of mora? Whoa! Oh, wait, even at that price, you probably still shouldn't.
Please, accept my thanks for looking out for my privacy.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't make our money by revealing details of other people's day-to-day life just for the sake of it. Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for Mr. Kaidehara. But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as particularly unusual? The Tenryou Commission had very few leads. I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryou Commission would absolutely get involved.
That does make sense. Uh-oh. Looks like the trail's already run cold.
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere. Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now.
Kann ich das als Anerkennung werten?
I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, I'm quite relieved that you were the one he targeted. It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life because of me. For the poor victim, this would be a completely senseless crime.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaidehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow man is what drove you to fearlessly raise your blade against the almighty Shogun.
You flatter me. Truth be told, I don't know quite what came over me in that moment.
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. I will try my best to gather whatever leads I can for you. Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. It doesn't involve an attack, though. Let me tell you about it just in case.
Sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right, then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Amenoma? Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smithy. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely connected, but I don't know much in the way of details. I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps he is the one you are looking for.
Understood, though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to attack me.
Wie dem auch sei, lass uns beide Vorfälle untersuchen, weil ich denke, das hängt miteinander zusammen.
Sure. never know what we might find out along the way.
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at the Amenoma smithy.
Sounds good. All the best with your investigation. I'll get moving shortly myself.
Tja, irgendwie ein bisschen enttäuschend, dass wir jetzt hier nicht den Hauptdetective angetroffen haben. Oh, das ging jetzt sogar auch schon ziemlich schnell. Willkommen bei der Schmiede.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha, what brings you here today?
Huh? You two know each other?
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the two clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects.
Ah, ich verstehe. Und ich denke, auch insgeheim gab es eine kleine Fehde zwischen den Clans. Der Kaedeharas und der Amenomas. So war es sicherlich. Es gab eine kleine Fehde unter den Schwertschmieden, wer nun der Bessere war. Nun wiederum der Schwertschmied, der Amenoma, haben auf jeden Fall jetzt dieses Dämonenschwert hergestellt und damit wollen sie endgültig beweisen, dass die Amenoma bessere Schwertschmiede als die Kaedeharas waren. Oder sind.
Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori Festival.
Ja, das stimmt. Ich frage mich jetzt allerdings, was an dieser Stelle gekommen wäre, wenn wir, nicht das Iridori-Fest absolviert hätten, weil das war ja auch ein großes Event gewesen.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade-making philosophy, spawning the development of different branches of the same art. As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water as it turns stone to sand. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in and day out, until both body and mind have memorized the craft, turning each motion of every technique into an intrinsic part of the bladesmith's life. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Isshin art.
That's right. Isshin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind from the moment that forging begins. For only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Isshin blade chooses its owner. You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Isshin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the Kaedehara clan has fallen on hard times, its ideals and virtues are alive and well.
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any noble aspirations on behalf of my clan. But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryou Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is wait for the news from the Tenryou Commission.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse.
Ein
And
Brand?
neither of them came back.
Okay, jetzt nochmal ein Brand.
Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing, and can sense even the most minute differences in blade quality. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the sword.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for, he attacked this friend of mine. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. Absolutely impossible. Yuya is not that kind of person. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of calming his mind. He has never gotten into a fight before.
Is that so?
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Yuya would never draw his blade without a very good reason. But, with that said, it's equally out of character for him to just disappear, with neither farewell nor fair warning. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced, or otherwise compelled by circumstances unbeknownst to me. Anyway, should you find him, please let me know as soon as possible.
Don't worry, you have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us as well.
Tja, wir brauchen noch Informationen von Nagato.
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two men met each other. Let's pay a visit to the Nagato household.
Mal sehen, wo müssen wir dort jetzt als nächstes hin? Okay, anscheinend müssen wir dafür jetzt erstmal wieder ein paar Stufen erklimmen. Um dann den nächsten Teil des Rätsels Lösung zu erhalten.
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now. My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation. We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still trying to find out as much as we can to inform our search. With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some questions about your family's current situation?
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand why a collector would be strapped for Mora.
That's a long story. Ever since I've known him, he's been an avid collector of all sorts of things. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, I was happy to believe that they were just extremely important to him. Everything was fine when we first got married, but as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money just so he could pay for them. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring his weapons even as debt collectors were descending upon our house. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him, but making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it so many times, but he never listens. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts, I would divorce him and take the children with me.
Whoa!
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. On most things, he leaves the decision-making to me. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our family to the brink. After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, he awkwardly mumbled that he would pick out a few items to sell. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family?
Tja, es ist wichtig, eigene Wünsche zu kontrollieren.
Had I not indulged his bad habits, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament. And I also don't know if he had actually come to his senses, or if he was simply angry with me. The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
I see. I understand. Ame no miHoYo came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale, a fire broke out at the warehouse, and both men disappeared.
Das erste Opfer des Dämonenschwertes. Herr Nagato.
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe he was feeling the pressure from the debts?
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned down. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire, and he's got no way to pay off our debts. Even though I'm still a little mad at him, we're a family, and I want us to face our family's crisis together. As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things out.
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this situation than meets the eye. If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, it is quite unusual for this habit to change so drastically over a short period. But the information we gathered from the other side suggests Ame no miHoYo is also a mild-mannered man who would not be likely to start an argument. This situation is getting a little confusing.
A little confusing? More like completely mystifying.
Let's try a change of scenery and see if we can piece together what we've learned. Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything.
Thank you so much. I just want him to come home.
Tja, mal sehen. Vielleicht sollten wir als nächstes zum Lagerhaus gehen.
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their disappearance. The fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded, though its exact role is a mystery. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, Paimon was thinking that maybe someone accidentally knocked over an oil lamp and, nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
Tja, es fehlen noch notwendige Informationen. Das ist auf jeden Fall jetzt klar.
Right. I very much agree with you. It seems highly likely that we're missing a piece of the puzzle. Working off what we know so far, there are too many things that don't add up. the chances are that there are still some clues left for us to discover. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Amenoma Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted and passive. Neither seems like the type of person who is inclined towards initiating conflict. Mr. Nagato, being heavily in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive to disappear after the fire. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there?
Und das mit dem Angreifer klingt auch unlogisch.
Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no other details that we've learned seem to link the two events together. Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker, namely that he is principally a practitioner of the blade testing techniques of Amenoma art, not those of the combat-oriented Ishin art.
Darn! We thought we could get two birds with one stone here, but at this rate, it's starting to look like a wild goose chase.
Let's keep going, since we've come this far. If we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some closure.
Okay, but where should we go now?
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's still a chance we may be able to find some shreds of evidence.
Wie zum Beispiel eine Inventarliste. Es würde einen jetzt auch schon mal ziemlich viel bringen und weiterhelfen, wenn man wüsste, was für ein Schwert er eigentlich verkaufen wollte. Und natürlich, jeder Sammler besitzt natürlich hier auch eine Inventarliste. Man muss ja auch den Überblick behalten.
Wait. I hear something ominous in the wind.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that only you can hear. As sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament, so...
Das ist ja verlässlich.
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma, the remnants of the Tatarigami.
Ja, Tatarigami? Was war das nochmal?
Indeed. But this
Ach so.
unexpected spring of inauspicious energy may prove to be of benefit to our investigation. We should remain vigilant and approach slowly.
Ja, böse Geister.
So it's an underground warehouse.
The force is definitely coming from down below. The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place, but the residue it left behind still hasn't dissipated completely. Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very long time.
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time.
Fällt das andere nicht auf?
From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys into violent monsters, but most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's unfulfilled will. Their interests become fanatical obsessions. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder, amassing more and more possessions even as he put himself in grave debt.
So what should we do now? Go down and take a look?
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside.
Es ist gefährlich. Lass uns das lieber machen.
If we don't open this door, we can move no closer to the truth. You needn't worry. Both of us have faced far greater dangers than this. Relatively speaking, the risk here is trivial.
Da hat er auch recht.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't see anything. It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
Tja, ich weiß nicht, ob das gut oder schlecht ist.
That was too scary! Paimon was so sure that the warehouse boogeyman was about to jump out at us!
All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy source left this place. 2 ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them.
Wir dürfen nicht länger zögern.
Yes, let's go. If nothing else, it's vital that we find out where this Tatarigami energy is coming from. Quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you. Perhaps you too will perceive its ominous presence in the wind.
Tja, meinetwegen. Folge den Geruch und halte Ausschau nach Hinweisen. Ja. Also ganz offensichtlich stinkt es hier gewaltig. Tja, ganz offensichtlich stinkt es hier gewaltig. Jedenfalls nicht nach der Minze hier.
From this point, the trail appears to split into 2. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here and seems to be dissipating slowly.
Stellen diese beiden Teile eigentlich Nagato und Amenoma Yuya dar?
Quite possibly. Let's search the area.
Okay, dann finden wir jetzt hier sicherlich zuallererst mal Nagato.
Those hilly churls. They're acting really strangely.
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look.
Illusion shattered! Inazuma shines eternal! Shine down! Gotcha!
Okay, da sind mir jetzt hier ein bisschen zu viele Gegner.
There is no escape!
It's...
Ugh! Look at this red stuff! What is it?
Also Ketchup auf alle Fälle nicht. Das ist Blut. Wir halten also fest, der Sammler Nagato ist in die Luft geflogen.
By the looks of it, a letter written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink is bone dry. It must have been written quite some time ago. Well, let's take a look.
Tja, vom Briefgeheimnis kennen wir ja, sag hier nix. Rot gefärbter Stoff. Ich bin Nagato. Mein Körper wurde von Amenoma Yuya aufgeschlitzt und er hat mir auch noch mein wertvolles Schwert genommen. Ich habe ihn immer verfolgt, aber nie eingeholt. Ich bin zu erschöpft, ich ruhe mich hier aus. Aus meinem Bauch strömt Blut heraus. Ich glaube, das ist das Ende, aber irgendeine unerklärliche Kraft lässt mich weitergehen. Warum hat er mein Schwert weggenommen? Ich habe ihm doch gesagt, ich würde es ihm verkaufen. Sogar mein Lagerhaus hat er angezündet. Es tut so weh, es tut so weh, es tut wirklich unglaublich weh. Aber mir ist nicht schwindelig geworden. Ich schreibe diesen Brief, um mich ein wenig davon abzulenken. Sachiko, Yuichi, Yuji. Was soll ich bloß tun? Ich bin ihrer unwürdig, es tut mir so leid. Erst jetzt merke ich, wie falsch ich lag. Ich stehe bestimmt unter dämonischen Einflüssen. Bis zuletzt habe ich alle möglichen seltsamen Dinge gesammelt, aber sie brachten mir weder Glück noch Wärme. Das alles ist nicht eines ihrer Worte wert. Ich danke dir, es tut mir leid, dir so viel Kummer gemacht zu haben, Sachiko.
According to this letter, a conflict arose because Ame no Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to Mr. Nagato. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here to write this letter when his strength gave out.
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters, and I'm afraid he may no longer be with us. Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls.
Tja,
There's nothing more for us to find here.
Ja, wir haben Dringenderes zu tun.
Yes. Right now, we need to uncover some more important truths. If Ame no Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk meeting the same tragic end.
Right, so let's get moving.
Tja, sollte nicht so eine Person sein.
I wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to the influence of the Tatarigami. For a practitioner of the martial arts, the easiest desire to inflame would be their pursuit of further power and skill. All the clues that at first seemed disparate and disconnected, it seems that now we know the thread that runs between them. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only explains the series of events leading to the two men's disappearance, but also zeroes in on the attacker's identity.
Wait, you figured it out? So these two cases are connected after all?
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. I will only be able to confirm my suspicions once we've met him in person. On with the search. We must stay vigilant. At any point now, we may find ourselves in danger.